When someone gets in your face, you don't have minutes to think. You've got seconds. Handle this wrong and you can get hurt. In this video, I'm going to teach you practical, no-nonsense methods that actually shut this down fast. Let's check it out. The problem is, martial arts and combat sports never train you for the moment someone gets right in your face. Screaming, intimidating, trying to break you before a punch is even thrown. They focus on what happens after contact starts. But in reality, the outcome is usually decided during the pre-contact stage of self-defense. Contemporary fighting arts was built specifically to address that missing phase, where positioning, mindset, and intimidation control determine how the situation ends. I break all of this down in my full-length instructional video titled In Your Face. You can find it by visiting my website at sammyfranco.com. And if you're a War Machine Elite member, you can now stream it for free inside the members only section of this channel. And if you're not already a member, click the join button below to see all the different membership options we have available. Okay, when someone gets in your face, let's address some of the things you should not do. Tommy, come on out. One of the most common things people do that you should not do is get into this face-to-face encounter where your hands are down and you start talking to them. And this happens all the time. You guys will see it in your TikTok reels, you'll see it on social media. Two uneducated people who think bravado and sticking the chest out and do this kind of posturing somehow establishes some sort of dominance. No, it's stupidity and you're losing tactical advantage. So we never want to do this with both hands down, face to face, talking each other's face. Nothing good is going to come of that in terms of a self-defense application. So that's number one, you never do that. Another common mistake people do is the pushing. So Tommy and I are in each other's face. Over here, I get irritated and I push him out of my face. I'm like, get out of my face, man.
Don't push me.
I'll push you, get out of my face.
Don't push me.
Okay, so you're asking to get sucker punched right there. Because if I push Tommy, he's probably most likely gonna reel back and just slug me right there in the face. You do not put your hands on him ever unless you're going to hurt him, unless you're going to incapacitate him. Then we have the back and forth pushing. Tommy's in my face. I'm like, get out of my face, man.
Man, don't touch me.
And then he pushes me back. My hands come up, I push him back. Back and forth until someone gets the balls up to throw that shot. Again, this is something you don't want to ever do in a self-defense situation. You do not play this game. You think logically, strategically. So we're not getting this back and forth pushing competition. There are self-defense instructors who teach you when confronted by somebody that you should not back up because you could trip over something or that stepping back is not as quick as somebody advancing. This is absolutely taken out of context and it's stupid, and I'll explain to you why. First of all, pre-contact situation, Tommy gets in my face, my hands come up in de-escalation, I'm gonna take a step back because distance creates opportunity, okay? Action always beats reaction, and if he's gonna hit first and I'm super close, he's gonna have the tactical advantage. So creating distance helps improve your defensive reaction time. That's number one. Number two, really important, by stepping back and Tommy steps in again, he's establishing intent. That's really important during the pre-contact stage and if you're going to deliver a first strike technique. But of course, these self-defense instructors in social media think they know what they're talking about, and it's nothing more than clown shows and amateur hour. They don't understand the pre-contact stages of self-defense. Another absurd technique people teach when someone encroaches upon you, gets in your face, is this. For example, let's say Tommy's poking his finger in my chest, maybe it's two hands. Some self-defense instructors teach you to trap both hands like this. Absurd, but I'm gonna show it to you. Both hands on the chest, the hands come up, grab both hands, and in the moments of opportunity presents itself, you hit them, okay? You do some sort of counter strike. But the objective is to control both hands. You never, ever, ever do this technique. And I told you, you never put your hands on him unless you're striking him. You're taking him out, okay? Because let me tell you something. He doesn't have to be a martial artist. He could just be a street brawler. If I grabbed both of Tommy's hands, he would most likely headbutt me, drive knee shots into the groin. I'm not doing anything effective in terms of self-defense. All I'm doing is I'm reacting emotionally, and it's shocking There are self-defense instructors that are teaching you to react on these emotional cues. You do not grab hold of his hands, ever. Let's talk about some of the behavioral cues that he will give off during the pre-contact stage in an in-your-face situation. So Tommy and I, he's encroached upon me, I'm de-escalating, I backed up a little bit. Here are some of the things he might do that indicates he may resort to throwing a shot. First thing he'll do is he starts rocking his body. Okay, so I'm de-escalating. Tommy's gonna rock his body back and forth. Either it's back and forth or side to side. This is his fight or flight response kicking in. He's getting ready to fight. The adrenaline is starting to course through his mind. Again, just because you're in one state doesn't mean he is. So if he's rocking that body while you're de-escalating, let's assume my hands are up the whole time while I'm lecturing you guys, okay? So keep that in mind as he's doing all of this. So Tommy may bring his hands together and start rocking back and forth, side to side, or back and forth. Another thing he's gonna do is he's gonna look down. He'll look down as if he's contemplating something. But a lot of times that's the setup for the sucker punch. And I have videos that cover sucker punching. Check it out on the channel. Another thing Tommy may do is he may turn his body sideways while I'm de-escalating as if he's walking away. But what he's doing is he's loading his sucker punch shot. So I'm de-escalating, Tommy looks like he's done, he's backing away from the situation, and then he reels back and he throws that powerful rear shot. Happens all the time. So these are different types of cues. Sometimes if he's wearing a jacket, he'll put his hands in his pocket. He may be reaching for a gun. He may be reaching for a knife. You have no idea what he's doing. So watch what he's doing with his hands. Very important. Don't stare at the hands. Don't fixate, but be cognizant of what he's doing with his hands. One of the most important attributes you must possess is emotional control. During the pre-contact stage of self-defense, in your face situation, it's not always going to be this calm dialogue back and forth between you and your potential adversary. Many times they're going to lose their shit. When you're de-escalating, Tommy's going to most likely have a finger pointing directly in your face, and I know you really want to blast a guy who's pointing his finger directly in your face. He may be screaming obscenities in your face. Go ahead, Tommy.
Get back. I'm telling you, I'm sick of you.
And again, besides the volume encroaching upon you, he's going to have spittle coming at your face. You have to control your emotions. Now, let's talk about preparing for in-your-face scenarios. Let's start with language. Language is critical during the pre-contact stage of self-defense. When dealing with an in-your-face situation, you have to be prepared to receive a lot of verbal assault, a lot of abusive language. Now, in my video, In Your Face, we have a lot of role-playing scenarios. And in those scenarios, there is a lot of abusive language. Now, I've received a lot of complaints about this video over the years. People saying that I use too much profanity in the videos. They're misunderstanding the tactical importance of it, okay? People in the streets, if you use abusive language, they lose it. Many people resort to fists and to striking as soon as you use abusive language. You need to be inoculated and conditioned not to respond emotionally when someone gets in your face and they just throw out the expletives. You have to do role-playing scenarios that use the language of the street and not react emotionally. So you have to understand when doing role-playing scenarios, you need the abusive language. And over the years of teaching thousands of students, you can see an emotional shock when I use abusive language in a role-playing scenario. And that's exactly what we're trying to condition you to deal with. There are a multitude of different considerations when dealing with an in-your-face scenario. However, there are two really critical points. Number one is the range. Tommy, come on out. How far is the adversary? Is he in your face like this? Or do you have a little bit of distance when dealing with a threatening individual? The distance is really important in terms of what you're going to throw as a first strike and also what he can throw at you if he decides to launch a strike first. Next thing is the stance. If you don't have tactical stances such as our de-escalation grappling range or a de-escalation punching kicking range, you are in a lot of trouble. You have to have tactical stances. And of course, the martial arts world has zero, nada, zip. They don't use tactical stances because it's not part of their tradition. And that's why, one of the many reasons why, they are not fit for real-world self-defense. Two considerations, okay? Two of many. The range of the adversary and the stance that you use during the pre-contact stage of self-defense when he's in your face. De-escalation grappling range, de-escalation punching kicking range. This has to be part of your DNA if you want to be prepared for real world self-defense. Let me pause here for a second because this is the part most people miss. What actually controls this in-your-face situation isn't the strike, it's the tactical stance you use right now. Pre-contact stances and positioning are everything. Get your stance wrong and everything that follows is already compromised. That's why I put so much emphasis on tactical pre-contact stances. These aren't just ready positions. They're decision-making structures that keep you in control under extreme pressure. I break all of this down in detail in my book, Stand and Deliver, not as some complicated fighting techniques, but as simple, street-proven positions that can deter escalation and often prevent violence without ever throwing a punch. If you want that real tactical edge, the one most people never learn, grab a copy today. I'll put a link in the description down below if you'd like to check it out. Hey, we're about to get back into the video, but let me ask you something. Do you want to legitimately accelerate your self-defense skills? And are you sick of clickbait videos teaching absolute garbage? Or tired of being misled by unqualified wannabe experts who have zero credibility or experience? If the answer is yes, now is the time to join my War Machine memberships. As a member, you're going to get exclusive access to in-depth training videos, exclusive full-feature video content, downloadable training PDFs, and direct insights you're not going to find anywhere else. Plus, you're going to have direct access to me in the comment section of all my videos. So if you have questions, you're going to get real, detailed answers from me and not some random keyboard warrior. So if you're serious about mastering real-world combat skills, hit the join button below and start training like a true war machine. Now, let's get back to the lesson. Here is an easy drill that you can do with a training partner to help him become more acquainted with the proper stance for the range, okay? I'm gonna be the bad guy, this is the good guy, and we're gonna see how Tommy does, okay? I'm gonna encroach upon Tommy, he's gonna assume a de-escalation, punching, kicking range, okay? So, not bad. Now I'm gonna encroach a little bit further. Let's say for some reason Tommy cannot step back. It's a crowded bar environment, maybe there's a flight of stairs behind him, he can't maneuver himself away from the stairs, so I get a little bit closer, Tommy adjusts his hands positioning. So we're going from this position to this position to this position. Again, when someone closes that distance, okay, so for example, Tommy's in punching, kicking, and I start getting a little bit closer and he adjusts it, I'm establishing intent. I want to get even closer to him. Again, these are things this is the data that comes into your head within the split second and you deciding to launch that first strike. So when you go from punching, kicking to grappling, this is something really critical that a lot of people don't understand, that this is really escalating just from non-verbal cues. So again, Tommy's de-escalating punching, kicking range. Okay, I'm pissed off, I'm yelling, expletives. You got the whole 9 yards in terms of emotional reaction from me, the bad guy. I get closer, he changes it. He's actually giving me a little bit more of an opportunity to try to back out of this, because when you go from here to here, that's as far as it goes. This is the Alamo, okay? From right here, you better launch your shot, assuming it's legally and morally justified. I always have to put that caveat in there. But when you go from de-escalation, punch, kicking, and then he encroaches further and you go to grappling, that is the Alamo. This is where you have to defend. And that's the point where you should deliver a first strike. Again, if it's legally and morally justified. There are numerous drills in contemporary fighting arts that we do that helps prepare you when someone lays hands on you, but you're not ready to launch the first strike. For example, let's say Tommy and I bump shoulders here. I'm like, hey man, what's your problem, huh? Okay, he wants to blast me. I don't blame him, but he's controlling it. He's setting it up for the strike. Let's replicate again. Tommy comes here, we bump shoulders, he grabs hold of me. First thing is my hands come up. I'm setting this up. The minute he grabs hold of me, I'm not reacting emotionally. Remember, here's the most important takeaway. If someone could grab you, he could have hit you, but he did not. Now, there are some situations that if someone ambushes you and gets you in a bear hug or a chokehold, yes, of course, you need to respond immediately. But when someone has an encroachment and they grab hold of you just for a second, okay, you have time for the setup. He could have hit you, but he did not, because he wants to test your behavior. Set up your hands positioning and get ready to launch that first strike. You're going to be in a much better position to knock him down on that ground and take him out of commission than just reacting emotionally to the first initial grab. So in-your-face scenarios are directly linked to first strike. And in my book, in my video First Strike, I talk all about the strategic application of launching that preemptive strike and all the important cues you need to follow to make sure that it's legal and morally justified and you put the guy down. And that's a separate discussion that I address in different videos in my War Machine Elite memberships and also on videos on my website. You can definitely check that out. But just understand, we're talking about in-your-face scenarios that lead up to the initial first strike that you're going to deliver. Now, it's really important to mention that if your martial art or your self-defense system does not have a first strike methodology, that system is incomplete. Keep this in mind. If you have any martial arts training or any type of sport combat training, boxing, MMA, I don't care what it is, and they do not have a first strike doctrine or methodology, that system is incomplete. And let me tell you, you go out in the streets and you are vulnerable. Choosing the right technique when someone encroaches upon you and they get in your face is critical, okay? You have a toolkit, lots of different tools that should be efficient, effective, and safe. That's the criteria for contemporary fighting arts. And choosing the right tool for that initial first strike is critical. So for example, if Tommy and I are in an encroachment scenario, okay, I'm gonna use this mini focus mitt form. Okay, and he's de-escalating, grappling range. The ideal targets for him, assuming he's justified to launch that first strike, for example, would be a short arc hammer fist, right? Again, short arc, again, short arc. Now, again, the hands have to be up. You should be using what we call disingenuous vocalization, which is a whole different art form in contemporary fighting arts. You can research that in the books and the videos. But again, he should be talking, communicating, trying to lower the guy's guard, build his ego up, and again, set up the first strike, assuming it's legally and morally justified. So for example, in this situation, as you guys practice, maybe in your studio or at home with a training partner, okay, this de-escalation scenario is in CQC range. This would be a short arc hammer fist right to the bridge of the nose. This thing will splatter the nose. Now, very important, that may not be your shot. For example, another shot would be a horizontal elbow strike. Same range, same situation, but what Tommy's gonna do is he's gonna drive a horizontal elbow right to the head. Okay, and again, he's doing it from the de-escalation hands, okay? It's a pre-contact situation. He's in your face. Tommy's hands are up. He's at the Alamo. Both hands are side by side, not staggered in front of each other. So he has that short arc hammer fist. And again, you should use dialogue. You maybe have a little bit of pushing back and forth. Tommy regains his stance. He gets a good structure. The hands come up. Again, the target is where his head is at. So this is gonna be a short arc hammer fist. Again, hands up, short arc hammer fist. Again, one more time. Good, again. Again, the horizontal elbow, short arc hammer fist, short arc. You don't have any idea how destructive those blows are. They're incredibly powerful. Now you saw Tommy, he screwed up, right? I had the short arc hammer fist set up. He threw the elbow technique. This is good. This is how you learn. Tommy's training his brain to see this angle. Again, hitting a focus mitt this small is much more difficult than hitting the human head. Okay, so if you can hit this accurately all the time and make sure you understand what target this is replicating on a focus mitt, it's so easy when you actually hit a physical target. This is difficult. Hitting a head in terms of its actual structure, the 3D positioning of it, is going to be a lot easier. So let's try it again. Tommy's de-escalating, grappling range, hands are a little bit closer. He's gonna short arc, The power is absolutely devastating. Hitting the bridge of the nose with that kind of force, it's gonna shatter the nose. And of course, Tommy's not gonna throw a short arc hammer fist and just walk away. He's gonna make sure that he's gonna follow up until I'm on the ground and I'm no longer a threat to him. Real self-defense does not begin with punching and kicking. It begins in the pre-contact stage, under pressure with positioning and decision-making, where everything happens in seconds. Contemporary fighting arts is one of the very few reality-based combat systems built around this moment. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys at the next video.